has been achieved after untiring efforts. Efforts led by President Trump, who is genuinely a man of peace, who has relentlessly and untiringly worked throughout these months, day in and day out, to make this world a place to live with peace and prosperity. I would say that Pakistan had nominated President Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize for his outstanding, extraordinary contributions to first stop war between India and Pakistan and then achieve ceasefire along with his very wonderful team. And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for Peace Prize because he has brought not only peace in South Asia, saved millions of people, their lives. And today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, achieving peace in Gaza is saving millions of lives in the Middle East. Mr. President, I would like to salute you for your exemplary leadership, visionary leadership. And I think that you are the man this world needed most at this point in time. World would always remember you as a man who did everything, went out of the way to stop 7 and today 8 wars. Had it not been for this gentleman, not only, who knows, India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers. Had he not intervened along with his wonderful team, during those 4 days, the war could have escalated to a level. Who would have lived to tell what happened? And similarly, here in this part of the world, in the Middle East, Mr. President, your valuable contribution along with President Sisi, I think history will remember in golden words. I wouldn't say more except God bless you, God give you long life to serve like this for all time to come. Thank you very much.
So beautiful. Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you very much.
Very kind of you.
Thank you. Wow, I didn't expect that. Let's go home. There's nothing more I have to say. Goodbye, everybody. That was really beautiful and beautifully delivered. Wow. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think President Trump expected that kind of praise to be heaped on him. And, I think the way he responded says it all. Mr. KC Singh is with us, former MEA Secretary and diplomat. Needs no introduction, really, Mr. Singh. Great to have you with us here on the program. I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say, what to ask you, but
crass
it's just...
flattery. This is crass flattery, which Trump welcomes, and the Pakistanis have got the measure of him. And they're bringing in this bogus thing about the danger of nuclear war. They've been using it since we tested the devices in 1998. The world has never taken that seriously. Just having nuclear weapons or even conflict. You're seeing Russia and Ukraine fighting. Russia has all the nuclear weapons in the world. So even when they had a setback, once or twice President Putin has threatened to use the weapons, but he knows they're unusable. And if India could penetrate the missile defense of Pakistan with the counterattack, we could have also penetrated with nuclear weapons and taken them out. So Pakistan knows it's an unequal contest, but flattery, there is no limit to it, and Trump has a weakness for it. So Pakistan is exploiting it two ways. They are exploiting his greed, his family's greed, and that's why another video has come out where President Trump's back is to the mic and he's talking to the Indonesian Prime Minister,
Yes.
Indonesian President, and he's telling him his son's names come up. And the Indonesian president says that, no, that site is not good. We left. So obviously there is some business deal going on. So with President Trump, there are no dividing lines between personal business, family's business, greed, and his role as an American president. After all, he's been president since January 20. So in 9 months, why didn't he stop the war in the first 6 months? He was encouraging Netanyahu at that stage. And now all of a sudden he's discovered that this has to be done. This happened only after the Israelis attacked Qatar.
Yeah.
Then President Trump jumped into it because he realized that it'll break up the alliance of the rich sheikhs with the Americans, and he doesn't want to lose that. He had just got a 747 from Qatar, and they've got a military base there. So that is when he realized Israel had crossed the line. Otherwise, when Israel was attacking the nuclear facilities in Iran, the Americans had joined in.
Yeah.
At that stage, he was not worried about war escalating, because even that could have escalated, because the Iranians could have attacked the American bases. They did. In fact, a notional attack was launched on the Qatari base, although the Iranians probably forewarned them. So it's very sad, because this is not diplomacy. This is crass flattery which is being used. And I think I've tweeted today and I said, I support the fact that Indian Prime Minister didn't go. It could have been very embarrassing, Trump, because it's a stream of consciousness speech that he gives. It's never a measured speech. And while speaking, he could have just said, come along, Prime Minister Modi, Prime Minister Pakistan, come on, shake hands and let's have peace. What do you do? It would have been embarrassing. So I think Prime Minister did the right thing.
Yeah.
To avoid going to, and you saw the British Prime Minister getting embarrassed.
Yeah.
He called him forward and then turned his back towards him.
Yeah.
And you see, all leaders, what they're doing is, in his presence, they remain, they act in a subservient manner. But the British Prime Minister, immediately after leaving, has said that the Israelis must come up with $500 billion for compensation for lives lost, as well as rebuilding of Gaza, which they have destroyed. But the deal that we're talking about was on the table when President Biden was there a year ago. And after Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, visited President Trump in Mar-a-Lago, that is when they pulled back. God knows what he promised Netanyahu. That's when the Israelis pulled back. And same thing had happened in 1980, when the American prisoners were there. Diplomats were being held by the Iranians, and the American election was coming up. So President Carter tried his best at that point to get them back. But the Iranians were in touch with the Republicans, held them back until the election was over and Reagan had won. So this kind of thing happens. Other countries exploit it because they know the American system. But I think India is entrapped by it, because we can't have a prime minister do that. All the prime minister's social media message today was very one-sided. He talked of the hostages coming back, but there's no mention of the carnage committed by Israel. So he's doing it by balancing it in favor of Israel. But you can't be doing what the Pakistani prime minister can do. And they have, in addition, promised rare earths, promised a new port. So they are holding, financial, they're both appealing to the greed of President Trump, where his family and his immediate, his business associates will benefit from it. And secondly, also his personal sense of himself as a great man of peace who should be getting the Peace Prize. So this is the world is very complicated with a US president like that, who can act on a whim, who can say whatever occurs to him at a particular point, because these things are not done like this. Peace. And for instance, in Gaza, the simple thing has been done. The more complex one remains. Israel is insisting that Hamas should abandon power, is insisting there should be a transitional force. And at the moment, there is no mention of which countries will participate in a transitional force. reports coming in are showing that Hamas fighters are again out in the open controlling law and order in Gaza. So how do you exile them? How do you translate, how do you go from there to the Palestinian Authority getting more control in the West Bank and a transitional government in Gaza and then a path to a Palestinian state? Nothing, as they say, devil lies in the detail. So President Trump has signed all this.
Yeah.
This is a very initial thing. And at any particular point, the Israelis can break it up. If they say, no, look, Hamas has not given up power, they start bombing them again.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And I think you put it very well. Crass flattery, right? I mean, it's just crazy to see that. But, you know, obviously, as you said, it looks like President Trump is beholden to personal flattery, especially at a global stage like this. What does, you know, India is, of course, balancing, maybe slightly tilting in favor of Israel and sort of, you know, but is there anything we can do, Mr. Singh? Because there is, over the last 1 week, 6-7 days, the sense was that maybe the phone call between President Trump, Prime Minister Modi, then, you know, the ambassador, the envoy here in Delhi presenting that you great Prime Minister Modi to the Prime Minister from President Trump. Then, of course, the invitation, which of course was declined, that things perhaps were on a bit of mend. Does all of this with what happened with Pakistani Prime Minister mean anything for our efforts to repair, rebuild relations with the US, or rather this administration?
Look, the lesson is that with Trump, even there, speaking in Egypt, he praised Prime Minister Modi. You see, he has this duality in his thinking that where it comes to transactional things, which means deals, he operates like a business tycoon out of Manhattan. So if he wants a plot of land for a skyscraper, he'll do anything to get it. While in the evening, he'll invite you for dinner, he'll talk to you. So he'll keep using the carrot and the stick. And just because he praises you, etc., it doesn't mean that it's consistent or it's really meant, because he will not compromise on what he thinks are America's core interests. That will only change when the midterm elections are held in America and the tariffs, which are raising the prices in America, are beginning to affect the people, start influencing their voting. And if he loses control over one of the houses in November next year, so it's 13 months left as yet. So we'll have another 13 months to put up with this kind of very inconsistent, very unpredictable conduct. You'll have to put up with all this, because never has it happened that an ambassador designate is received by the Prime Minister in India. He has to present his credentials first, which he hasn't done. So he used the ploy of bringing this photograph, and he's got a picture taken with the Prime Minister. So, you know, they're making you all kinds of social concessions or breaking protocol or conventions which are from 47 or even earlier. They're there. In no country does an ambassador who has not presented his credentials meet the head of government. How long does it take to present the credentials? So I think we are breaking some of the barriers, but I think India is also careful. They realize that Prime Minister's image, domestic image, should not be affected. So they are doing some careful balancing, but whether it'll be effective or not is anybody's guess, because Trump is he can be very unpredictable. And ultimately, we know that he is focused on what he really wants.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get it, and if you don't satisfy his greed and his ego, then it's difficult to get something.
Right.
How we do it, I think that's the challenge for Indian diplomacy and for Indian political leadership.
Yeah. In a way, Mr. Singh, the U.S. Pakistan seems to have reinserted itself into Washington's sort of, if I can put it like the South Asia calculus, right? But what we also know that those lines can remain independent. I mean, our pursuit of trying to improve relations and get this tariff off, etc., can continue even as irrespective of what Pakistan is able to do with its efforts for by offering whatever to the US. So both in that sense are independent. Or you think are there linkages?
No, there's no linkage with what Americans are doing with Pakistan. But what Pakistan is doing is it's reasserting itself and its diplomatic presence. So that is embarrassing for the Indian government,
Yeah.
which has tried to isolate Pakistan's in the last 6 years after Article 370 was annulled. So this is reassertion of Pakistan, and Pakistan's getting the domestic stage, and they might even have a role to play in the transitional force there, which is being created. So India is then left kind of holding Israeli hand because we are not playing any major role in the peacekeeping or in achieving peace in the Gulf. So we are isolated because we allowed ourselves to go too much into the Israeli corner. But Pakistan's occupied that space, which it did not have earlier. Earlier, we used to have a very balanced relationship we had with the Palestinians. You never heard of Pakistan because Pakistanis didn't want to offend the Americans. So they would not get very close to the Palestinians at that stage. And they have an old history of working with the US and exploiting that relationship. So they have used Americans. They never fully cooperated after 9/11. As you know, bin Laden was caught in Pakistan. So their collaboration with Americans was always tactical. They never gave up their strategic assets. They never really went after terrorism in Pakistan or in Afghanistan. They allowed all the people from Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda, to flee into Pakistan and gave them shelter. And only notionally sort of helped it. And there's a recent biography of Zardari, which has come out, written by a former press secretary. And he says that was a mistake Zardari made, both after 26/11 attack in Bombay and when bin Laden was caught. He should have used that to control ISI in Pakistan and diminish the role of the Pakistani army. He says he backed off. He didn't do that. I don't know whether he could have done it or not, but certainly there was a moral force because the Pakistani army leveled a charge at the Pakistani president that he had sent a memo to the Americans to stop a military coup in Pakistan, and they changed the narrative. So it's difficult to deal with the Pakistani military because they control the politician, and now you can see the Pakistani prime minister is just a puppet out there, sent there to please the Americans so that the Americans give them more weapons, they align with them strategically, and their relevance increases. So, for instance, a new port that comes out, Pakistani army will have a role in it, that business. They are hugely into Pakistani businesses. Now, how do we compete with that? It becomes difficult because in India, you can't be handing things out to Americans. And Trump just wants that. Like I told you, with the Indonesian leader, he's discussing a deal for his kids. So I think we'll have to live with it for another 13 months. Hopefully, the American people wake up and give him a jolt. That's the only thing. Otherwise, it's day to day. This is not diplomacy. It's day to day adjustment.
No, I think you put it well. I mean, I mean, the speech's stream of consciousness, I think it describes it perfectly. I mean, it's not how it's done and how it's supposed to be, how it should be, for that matter. Mr. Singh, a bunch more questions, but maybe we can invite you back and you join us as we track this. Thank you very much for joining me today, though.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.